Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Well, hey, I'm super and yourself.
Very good. Super excited to be chatting with Peter Pitts later in the program. Going to be talking about the single-payer system that Bernie Sanders talks about. And I'm reading this guy's info. He says that there's just no way that'll work. So I'm going to get more details from Peter Pitts in a bit. 47-year-old Carlos Gutierrez was at a Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Florida, and he called 911 to say the slot machine stole his money. Police report says he left the casino to place a 911 call and said the same thing when he left as well. He was arrested and charged with making a false 911 call. That's dumb. Don't
Sorry,
do that.
that's what the machines do.
Hey, with the economic downturn, more Canadian companies are making a shift to a 4-day work week. Heidi thinks we should do that here.
I would love to do that here.
But people would miss us if we were gone one more day.
Not really.
Yeah, how would they get by without their John and Heidi show? And what do Oral Roberts, Steve Martin, and Raquel Welch all have in common, Heidi?
I don't know.
They were all cheerleaders.
Oh, I did know Steve Martin was a cheerleader. I knew
so
that.
was Raquel Welch and Oral Roberts. I did not know that. A lot of fun stuff we're going to learn in today's program. Buckle up, kids. Thanks for listening on this Wednesday to the John and Heidi Show. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I never ask. It's Wednesday, March the 23rd. Today is National Puppy Day.
I love puppies.
I do too. We got 2 of them. I'm going to celebrate by petting our puppy dogs when we get home. Also, today is National Tamale Day, National Near Miss Day. It is also OK Day. You know what that means? Today's an OK Day. And it's World Meteorological Day. And there's one other thing on here that I had to look up because I didn't know how to say it and I didn't know what it meant. But it's Tianet Esther today.
Okay.
Which is also known as the Fast of Esther. Okay. So there you go. It's a biblical thing.
I guess.
And it's from the book of Esther, for those of you wondering. Coming up here in a little bit, going to be talking about an interesting 911 call. It's all on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. 911 operators get some unusual calls. This one sure fits the bill. Now, earlier in the show, we talked about a guy that got arrested for making false 911 calls. But this story is this one. A guy on a cell phone dialed in to say that he dozed off in a trash container and he woke up in a garbage truck that was about to compact its load.
How would he have dozed off in a garbage container? And how would being picked up and dumped into a garbage truck not wake
either.
you?
That call really came in to police in Oak Park, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. An officer said the guy didn't know where he was. As police began checking on garbage trucks, they lost contact with the man whose cell phone battery fell out.
Oh, no.
But in the nick of time, one officer spotted a truck that was stopped. The driver was compacting a load. The officer banged on the side and somebody responded. The driver emptied his trash into a parking lot and out fell a man who said he had been looking for bottles to collect the deposit and he fell asleep inside the garbage can.
Was he intoxicated?
Amazingly,
he had to have been.
He was not hurt. It does not say that he was intoxicated, but it does say that he had fallen asleep.
He had to have not been woken up when the thing dumped him into a garbage can.
Could have just been really, really, really tired.
Possibly. I don't know.
But, there's really no way for them to what are they going to get out and check every time and say, anybody in this dumpster?
Wow.
Anybody? Bang, bang, bang. Anybody?
No, it's not the garbage company's fault.
Yeah, it's not.
Shouldn't have been in the dumpster in the first place.
If he didn't wake up from all of the shaking and dumping and compacting, he wouldn't have woken up from that anyway. So, yeah, I don't know what else to do. And when the garbage truck backs up, it makes a loud beep, beep. It's a really loud noise. So you'd think that alone would have been enough to wake the guy up.
That's crazy.
So I'm assuming this was like a dumpster, not just a little trash can.
Right.
It would have been a lot easier to spot him in there. Anyway, that happened, and it's true. It was in Oak Park, Michigan, by the way. And it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. St. Patrick's Day was not a very lucky day for a man in Georgia. 21-year-old Jody Bryan Minor was at a Dingus McGee's Bar. That's a funny name for a bar. Dingus McGee's Bar, Statesboro, Georgia. And he found a checkbook. Alas, the luck of the Irish. Well, it wasn't on Jody's side when he used the check to pay his bar tab. Seems that Jody never considered that the person who lost the checkbook might actually be the bartender. The arresting officer noted that Jody was, quote, extraordinarily intoxicated, end quote, and his dad had to pay the delinquent $129 bar tab. So he was 21 years young. He found a checkbook and thought,
yeah, not a good idea to ever use somebody else's checkbook, ever.
Not ever. That's a bad idea, no
you
matter
return
who
it
it is.
to the owner.
That happened on St. Patty's Day in Georgia. So, yeah, that kid wasn't thinking. So, there you go. That's what happens, kids, when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
25-year-old Brent Brown of Newcastle, Delaware, robbed an 18-year-old Domino's delivery woman while she was out delivering pizza. When she arrived at the door, Brent and two of his buddies surrounded her and took her cash and 2 pizzas. But then Brent felt bad, so he decided to call her on his cell phone and ask her out for a date.
Oh, my gosh.
She turned him down, but was happy to turn over his cell phone number to the police. They made a quick work of tracing him and picking him up. Of course, it didn't take him long to give up his 2 buddies either. Here's my question. How did he have her cell phone number?
I have no idea.
It doesn't say that in the story. Does that seem weird to you?
That seems very weird.
Why would he have... I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that happened in Newcastle, Delaware. So, there you go. Your moment of duh for this Wednesday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Your scoop of the day is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. The latest version of the World Happiness Report was released the other day, and the United States ranks number 13. Hey, high five on that. That's your lucky number.
That's way higher than I thought we'd rank.
Country number 13. Denmark is the happiest country in the world, and guess who is the least happy?
Who?
Burundi.
Well,
never heard
I
of
would have
them
never
before,
guessed it because I'd never heard of it.
Nor have I. So that's probably why
Maybe
they're
that's
so
why
unhappy.
they're so sad.
Nobody even knows us. Recent study shows that square dancing can add 10 years to your life. Either that or it just feels like it. Researchers say it combines all the positive aspects of intense physical activity with none of the negatives. They say it's low-impact activity, it requires constant movement, and all the direction changes keep the body well-toned. And if you can remember all those moves, you got to have a sharp noggin, too, because that's tough stuff. You ever tried a square dance?
No.
I haven't since elementary school. They made us do it in PE.
I guess I do remember doing it in PE.
Yeah, grab your partner round and round.
That was
like,
awful. That was so
done.
uncomfortable.
A survey conducted by the Public Religion Research Institute found that the majority of Americans, 63% to be quite accurate there, believe that recent severe weather is due to global climate change. 36% believe it's evidence of the end times, as taught in the book of Revelation. So that happened from the Public Religion Institute. Do you think that it's from Revelation that's what's happening right now?
I think that the climate changes every so often.
Yeah,
and
weather's
so
always different.
I think that this is just the next phase of the change. At one point, the area where we live was an ice age. It is not anymore.
There you go.
So there was global climate change way back then, and
Heidi
you can't
for
blame
president.
that on the people.
All right.
So it's just common sense. I mean, you got to look at history to see where you're going in the future, and we just don't do that enough today. It drives me nuts.
Well, we don't think a lot these days. Hey, a store in Scottsdale, Arizona is offering a camera angled in such a way that women can see what their tush looks like in their jeans.
Isn't that lovely?
That's what we need. Glad they gave up on curing cancer and stuff to work on that. Giving Gatorade the slip. Everything you need during a hardcore workout is a simple banana. Researchers have tested bananas versus Gatorade, and they've discovered that bananas deliver the same performance as sports drinks, and they offer a healthier blend of sugars. So there you go. Marcos Ramos of Lufkin, Texas, robbed a food store cashier at gunpoint after showing the cashier his ID card with his name Marco Ramos on it. Because he wanted to buy cigarettes, so he had to show his ID. As soon as the arrest was, not the arrest, but the robbery was notified to the police, they went right over to Marcos Ramos's house and picked him up. So, yeah, that's not very smart.
No.
Enrique Aquilar Chanola of Mexico. You think I got that right?
I think you nailed that.
Nailed it again. Attempted to enter the United States illegally by disguising himself as one of the car seats in a van.
Oh, that's clever.
But seats don't have legs that stick out. Immigration officials saw his legs sticking out from beneath what appeared to be a seat covered by papers and rubbish, and a baby seat was on top of it. They were searching the van. He apparently modified one of his seats so he could fit in it, and his body would go down into the seat, and then it would look like a normal seat. Anyway, that didn't work. So if you were planning on doing that, don't do it. Salem, Virginia man forced a teller at threat of being shot to cash a $300 check that he made out to himself. And then he was informed that checks could not be cashed without proper ID, so he handed over his driver's license for a photocopy. Imagine that. He was caught very shortly thereafter.
There's several morons in a row there.
And we shouldn't laugh at all these dumb people. They're just dumb. They don't know it. All right, let's get to our strange law. In St. Louis, it's against the law to gargle in public.
Really?
Yeah, that's a bizarre
I don't know why you
law.
would want to gargle in public
I don't
anyway.
know. But that's a strange law, though, and this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. And you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. Peter Pitts is the president of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest. He's a former FDA Associate Commissioner, and he's the author of Physician Disempowerment. Peter, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Very, very good. We're excited to have you on the program, and I'm looking at an article that you had written here not too long ago. This was in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and it talks about this Single-Payer Health Care, and you say it's unworkable, it's too costly. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, people say that for every complex problem is usually a simple solution, and it's usually wrong. And that's absolutely true when it comes to health care. If you listen to a lot of people talking about what solutions could be, and especially people like Bernie Sanders who say, well, we need a single-payer health care system where the government runs health care, and they make it sound great. They make it sound like it is quote-unquote free. But the bad news is that nothing's for free.
No.
And the Bernie Sanders plan, for example, would cost, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Almost $1.4 trillion a year.
Wow.
Now, regardless of what you think about Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, that's 10 times as much per year as Obamacare, $1.4 trillion.
Where in the world would that money come from? I know we've seen an increase in insurance, personally, and many of the people that I know, they saw their health care costs go through the roof. So where in the world would this additional funds, where would that come from?
Well, gee, let me think about that for a minute. Where do you think it's going to come from? It's going to come from taxpayers. And, it's funny. So Bernie Sanders is from Vermont. He's the senator from Vermont.
Yeah.
And the same exact plan was legislated, or the governor of Vermont was trying to legislate this exact same plan. He abandoned it. This was his quote. He said that the potential economic disruption risks would be too great to small businesses, working families, and the state's economy. that's in Vermont. Bernie Sanders, ground zero. The governor says it's going to hurt, small business and small taxpayers, working families. So it's outrageous that Senator Sanders would think that people are going to be naive enough to buy this, for the whole country. To have hospitals and doctors work directly, literally, to be paid for by the government, take choice out of the hands of doctors and patients. It's, when you look what's happening, in many countries in Europe, for example, they're actually moving towards a more market-based system, such as we have here, a hybrid system. Bernie Sanders and people that talk about single-payer government systems like it's some great panacea that's free, we're absolutely selling snake oil to the American public. It's shameless.
So I guess it kind of goes back to what, Grandma said, nothing in life is free, son.
They're sure not. And, it's just like with Obamacare. People thought, well, it's free, it's universal. And now all of a sudden people who have many Obamacare policies are walking into their pharmacies and finding that their copays have gone up radically, that their doctors can't prescribe them the medicines that they could before. Obviously, we all know about the canceled healthcare policies. The devil really is in the detail. And to my mind, allowing states to experiment on new ways to provide health insurance is certainly a great way to go. But the people that are running for president, certainly on the Democratic side, both Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders, feel that the problem with Obamacare isn't that there is too much government involvement, but rather that there's too much. And that is a real significant philosophical difference, I think, between on the one side and the other. I personally believe that if you allow the free market to work with government, you get great things such as the Part D drug benefit, where the government and private industry have significantly expanded coverage and reduced costs, and with extremely high, user satisfaction. That's really where you want to go. Giving more power to Uncle Sam, taking power away from the state, taking power away from doctors and pharmacists and patients. Wrong way to go.
Again, our guest today, Peter Pitts. He's the president of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, also a former FDA Associate Commissioner and the author of the book Physician Disempowerment. Now, Peter, we've talked a little bit about Bernie's plan for health care, and that it's not necessarily a plan that is going to be a real stable and realistic plan. As you look at people on the other side of the aisle, on the Republican side, are there any candidates there that you're hearing plans from them about health care that sound interesting?
Well, unfortunately, the plan on the Republican side that I like the best was from Governor Bush, so he's not in the race anymore. Donald Trump has some pretty ludicrous ideas in his, not the least of which is solving the problem through drugs from Canada, which never makes any sense. And also, the statement he's going to lower drug spending by more than we actually spend on it now. His concept is, and Secretary Clinton too, is that the government should negotiate harder for drug prices. But when you look at study after study after study by the government and the private sector, government negotiation not only doesn't reduce cost, it actually results in smaller options for patients. And I think the VA is a good example of that. So I think right now, unfortunately, there's no real good, solid plan that I like.
On either side.
On either side. But, it's early days yet. And as I said earlier, there's no simple way to, quote unquote, solve the problem. It's iterative. It's going to take time and negotiation. Like, for example, in the Affordable Care Act, there are a lot of things that I like and a lot of things that I don't. So it's going to have to be a compromise between the executive and Congress, and it's going to take a long time. Unfortunately, there's no easy answer to this question. Just my one caveat would be anybody that's promising you a quick, free solution is absolutely selling you a bill of goods.
Definitely. Again, Peter Pitts is our guest right now. Now, you were mentioning that Governor Bush, Jeb Bush, had a plan that you kind of liked. What was it about his plan that you liked? And do you think maybe one of the other candidates, if they become the nominee, could adopt something like that? What was it about the plan, first of all, that you liked?
Well, what I liked about the plan is that it really focused on allowing the free market to work with government and with doctors and with patients to let the system evolve as they see fit, to experiment on the state level, to give the FDA, for example, the authority to fast-track life-saving drugs to market and do more, oversight once they're already on the market. So I think it was more pragmatic, dealing with what's happening now and making it better, rather than saying let's throw everything out the window and start from scratch. But specifically, realizing that the free market really not only is where innovation comes from for pharmaceuticals, for medical devices, things like that. But it's where innovation relative to access systems come into play as well, for paying for things that work, rather than for paying for things that are least expensive and allowing patients to fail their way to more expensive therapies, which just doesn't save any money and is pretty bad for patients.
Very true.
It was as much a philosophical statement as it was a line-by-line roadmap to success.
Well, and one of the things that would be, I guess I kind of, with this whole election cycle this year, I've been kind of crossing my fingers and just hoping some things will come through, and maybe we'll still see a person that does we don't know who the nominee is going to be yet, but maybe we'll see that person who, when they do become the nominee, adopt some ideas from people, because I don't think that Bush didn't make it because of that plan. So if that was something that was a good idea that he had, it's not like people said, well, we don't want him because of that reason. So maybe some of the good ideas from the other candidates will still filter way through to the end. That would be fantastic.
No, I think you're exactly right, and I think that will happen. The only thing that I fear, and I suppose is kind of inevitable, is that during the election season, both candidates will start throwing out these very simple soundbite solutions, looking for black hats and white hats, which is not helpful, because at the end of the day, to solve this problem, everybody who's involved needs to be part of the solution. And so looking for easy solutions or looking for people to blame, it's good sound bites to get you headlines. Maybe it even gets you votes, but it certainly doesn't move the debate forward in a thoughtful way.
Exactly. Again, our guest today, Peter Pitts, president of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, also a former FDA Administration Associate Commissioner and the author of Physician Disempowerment. Peter, where can we find a copy of that book?
Thanks for asking. It's on Amazon, obviously, or you can also log on to our website, which is cmpi.org. It's available there for sale, but also on PDF files for free, because we want to get the word out as broadly as possible.
Very nice. So if I want to read it online, I can read it for free.
You can read it online, you can download it and print it out and share it with your friends, absolutely.
That's awesome. That is such a cool thing. Well, again, the website, CMPI, for Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, cmpi.org, and it's also available on Amazon, so if you want to buy the hardcover, you can do that as well. Peter, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today, sir.
My pleasure, and again, I'd love to talk to you anytime you want.
Well, we'll certainly be reaching out between now and the end of the election season, I'm sure.
Well, good luck, and an educated voter is the best way forward.
I agree 100%. That's why we enjoy reaching out and talking to people that know way more about this stuff than I do, and you certainly fit the bill for the medical side. So thank you again for being our guest today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Again, Peter Pitts, president of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, also a former FDA Administration Associate Commissioner and the author of Physician Disempowerment. You can find that on Amazon, and you can also find a copy at no charge on his website, and the website is cmpi.org. That's cmpi.org. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Johnny Plessy. He was a baseball player for the Cleveland Spiders in 1891. He batted a .331, which is really good, even though the entire season he used a rolled-up, lacquered copy of a newspaper. He didn't use a bat. He used a rolled-up, lacquered copy of the Toledo Post-Dispatch.
I'm surprised they would allow that. Why would they have allowed that?
A .331. I have no idea. Maybe they didn't know what he was up to. I have no clue. Huh. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Boeing 747 is capable of flying upside down.
Oh.
That's kind of cool. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The trucking company Elvis Presley worked for as a young man was owned by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What is that, John?
I want to take your dad golfing here. The only golf course on the island of Tonga has only 15 holes because it's such a small island, and there's no penalty if a monkey steals your golf ball.
Oh, fun.
That is so cool. Wouldn't that be fun to go golfing there?
That would be so fun.
I'm not even a golfer, and I want to golf there just because of that. There you go. Some fun facts for you right there. We'll have a lot more fun stuff coming your way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Got 5 steps to being a better husband. Don't know if I want to.
Didn't we
read
do
these.
this?
No, we did not. We did something different. That was a couple
Okay.
days ago.
All right.
Hey, first one is take an interest in something your wife is really passionate about. This can be especially tough for guys because we generally feel that if somebody else has an interest different from ours, that they're idiots. But that's not the way it works, guys. So find something that your wife likes and take an interest in that. I have tried to do that. You like wine. I've tried to like wine. I'm not still even remotely close to liking wine, but I still once in a while will say, "I'll have some of that with you."
But you go shooting with me.
Yeah.
That's not something you ever did
There you go.
before, so you do
likes,
that.
She likes bizarre things, people. Number 2, put the kids to bed. It says once a week, give her the night off. You be the one to put the kids to bed. Let her take a hot bath. Our kids are old enough. We don't need to do that one anymore. If we put our daughter to bed, she's a freshman in high school. She would not like that at all. Okay, well, we're going to give you a bath now and put you to bed. 3, learn to apologize. Boy, I was good at that like on our second day of marriage, so I got that one covered. Number 4, thank her for putting up with you. I do have to thank you every once
You
in a
do
while.
thank me.
Say, hey, thank you, by the way. For
Yeah.
what? For putting up with me and all this dumb stuff that comes along with me. So every once in a while, just stop in your tracks and say, hey, you know what? You deserve an award of some kind for putting up with all the dumb things I put you through. And number 5 on the list of ways to be a better hubby, clean up after yourself. Take care of the late night snacks or morning
That
cereal
would be
bowls.
lovely.
Setting them in the sink is one thing, but go the extra mile and put them in the dishwasher.
It's right next to it.
I know. So they're saying it's not that hard. I'm reading this. I'm not doing this, but I'm reading this. So I do what I can. I've been a lot better lately.
You've been
about
better.
tidying things up. I used to cook breakfast and make a giant mess and leave
Oh, it
it.
was awful.
Now, I don't think I've done that in a while. I try to keep it all nice and tidy. Coming your way here in a bit. Oh, by the way, those were some tips from MSN for ways to become a better husband. So I think it would work the same way in reverse if you want
I
to
would
become
think so
a
as
better
well.
wife. We've got some more fun things coming your way in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
If you want to stay lean and mean, you're supposed to eat a little slower. Researchers have discovered that eating too fast limits the release of a couple of hormones that bring on the feeling of being full. That can lead to overeating. Most of us have heard that eating fast can lead to overconsumption and obesity. Well, they say it's true. Dr. Alexander Kokonos, that's a cool name. He was the head researcher at the Lako General Hospital in Athens, Greece. He says the warnings we were given as children that wolfing down your food too fast will make you fat might, in fact, actually have some sort of physiological explanation now. So he's saying that mom wasn't just saying that. Mom was actually right.
I think we knew that already, though. You have to chew your food like 30 times or something. And
Well, here's the thing I can tell you. I eat way too fast.
you do.
Growing up, I come from a bigger family, so we starved our food down quick. And then I worked at a job where I only had 15 minutes for lunch, so I ate really quick. So I need to slow it down a bit. Maybe that'll help. Anyway, like they say, if you want to stay lean and mean, got to slow it down a bit.
John and Heidi.
If you're feeling a little bit stressed, maybe you should get rid of some of the noise. It says here, if your work environment is noisy and loud, that could be the reason you are so stressed out. That's your reason. I am too noisy and loud, Heidi.
I do like silence. I do like it
I
quiet.
can't handle it at all. I'll walk in the house and she'll be sitting there on the sofa staring at the wall doing nothing. Complete silence. I'm like, what are you doing? Nothing? I'm like, you're actually doing nothing. I've never seen anyone do nothing before. That is actually nothing. Anyway,
I love it.
if
You
you're-
clear your head. It gives you time to think.
If you're used to lots of noise, loud noises on the job increase stress. They keep you from staying focused. It says even if you're used to a lot of noise. And it also decreases your motivation. A recent study on the subject claims people working in loud environments are less willing to make adjustments to their chairs and their workstations, which means more aches and pains for the person too. So if you work in a place where there's just a whole lot of noise, they're saying maybe you need to dial it down a notch and try to, get away from some of that noise.
All right.
So if you're somebody who makes a lot of noise in your workspace, hey, shh, quit doing that. I'll try as well. We'll be quieter for the next break. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Students at several schools in Long Beach, California started protesting over unhealthy conditions of their school's bathroom. Now, this isn't just kids being finicky. Listen to this. They're complaining about overflowing toilets,
Ew.
broken toilet seats, damaged stall doors, soap dispensers always being empty, toilet rolls always being empty, towel dispensers always being empty, and empty sanitary napkin dispensers to boot. This isn't a local gas station. This is a government-funded school. Some girls are so disgusted and upset by the bathroom conditions, they've actually had a rise in urinary tract infections in this area
Oh.
because the girls are flat
They
out
won't go.
refusing to use the facilities in their school during the day.
Oh, that's
Now,
terrible.
apparently the situation has been a problem for about 4 years now. Don't worry, though. The district says, they got a nice quote for us here. The health and safety of the kids is an issue we take very seriously, end quote. Really? If you
Better
take
take it a little more seriously.
very seriously, we wouldn't have these kind of problems. I wonder what could be the problem. This, again, is in Long Beach, California. They get a budget to buy this stuff, don't they?
I have no idea.
I'm not exactly sure. And
It's California.
well, yeah, that's true. I'm not exactly sure. And for those of you that are, in California or from there or friends there or whatever, hey, nothing against it. It's just, I think your state government has got a lot of issues. And it's if the state is the one funding this, maybe they don't have funds for this. I don't know. All I know is that happened in Long Beach, California, and I'm glad I'm not there. I'm glad I'm right here. And I'm glad you're right here listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. So this doesn't start out with good news. Kate Foster lost her leg to leukemia.
Oh.
A leukemia-related infection when she was 12. See, that doesn't sound like good news. But she didn't let that stop her from becoming a competitive gymnast. This is where the good news comes in. According to Yahoo News, young Ms. Kate Foster, now age 16, is able to perform the most demanding gymnastic routines using a prosthetic leg. Kate competes with her team, traveling across the country in sanctioned gymnastic competitions. She is the only competitor with a prosthetic leg, and she's held to the exact same standards as her peers. And she does very, very, very well. So how cool is that?
That's cool.
She
Good
didn't
for
let
her.
that slow her down a bit. And here's the thing that I think is really cool. I think, sometimes we coddle our children.
Yeah.
When what we really need to do, I'm not saying we need to let them lose a leg, because that's a pretty, that's a very extreme example. But kids are more resilient than we think. There are a lot of people that, their kids, they don't let them do anything. And then they get a little bit of sickness and they get really, really, really sick. When I was a kid, I played in the dirt all the time. I think it helped build up our immunity.
Yep, I agree.
When kids do have something happen that's not great, like this young Kate Foster here, it was really cool that she didn't let that stop her in any way. She's still doing the things that she loves, and she's being a gymnast, even though she has a prosthetic leg. So that's really, I think, kind of
Good for her.
pretty darn cool. So hats off to you, Kate Foster. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. If you want to know more about that, I'll throw a link on our Facebook page. You can find that very easily at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
All right, we got a bonus break. That this is one of those things that I've always just wondered, and I hope that maybe this is something you've wondered as well. Why do we have a pair of pants but not a pair of shirts? Why is it a pair of pants? It's one pants. Why
It's one pants.
It is. It's one pants. It's not a pair of pants. Do you ever wonder this kind of thing?
Well, there's two legs, so it's a pair.
Well, there was a pair of pants. What is the deal? Let me tell you. It was like this. The Emperor's New Clothes. What's with the double talk about the pants? I'm reading the article here. Doesn't have a leg to stand on. Come on, get to this stuff. Historically, whenever we've worn below the waist, from breeches to trousers, has singularly come in a pair. The answer is to be found in the clothing history. The expression is about putting on your pants one leg at a time. That used to be necessary because that's how they were made. One leg separately attached to another leg separately, so it literally was a pair of pants. So you had to put both legs on, and then you tied them together at the waist.
Oh, yeah.
Like cowboy chaps.
Interesting.
A pair of chaps. But you would put on one pant leg at a time, so that is why they are a pair of pants.
I see.
And now I know. And now you know, too. Hey, need some help remembering things? William Glasser suggests you teach it to somebody else. According to his study, we only remember about 10% of what we read and 20% of what we hear, but he says we remember 90% of what we teach to others.
That's cool.
That being said, how much would you remember of things that you learned in school if it came down to it? Did you teach anybody else any of the stuff that you learned? That's why kids, when you come home from school and mom and dad say, so what'd you learn today? Tell them, and you're going to remember it a whole lot better.
Teach it to them.
Teach me something, kids. A recent holdup at a convenience store in Cranberry, Pennsylvania. First of all, Cranberry. Wouldn't that be a cool place to live? Cranberry, PA. They weren't goofing around. It was Pluto. Yeah. Wasn't being goofy. It was being Pluto. Local police said a robber entered the store wearing a Pluto mask.
Oh.
Pluto was armed with a pellet gun. The clerk thought it was a joke and started laughing. The clerk said, he asked Pluto, what are you going to do, shoot me with a pellet gun? The clerk said, okay, and then left empty-handed. So apparently he didn't realize that he would know that it was a pellet gun. Next time your spouse hides out in front of the TV instead of helping with the chores, you might want to share this with him or her. Researchers from the University of Missouri and Birmingham Young University and Utah State University, all of them, found that married couples are happier if they share household responsibilities, Heidi.
There you go.
Researchers surveyed 160 couples married for an average of 5 years with at least one child under the age of 5, and they found out if we pitch in and help together, then you're happier. So there you go. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Then why don't you ever help me with the garbage?
Because you don't ever help me with the dusting and the sweeping and the mopping
Wait,
and the dishes and unloading the dishwasher and the laundry. I do. I just did a couple of days ago, actually.
I was giving you a guff. Hey, this is our final story. Jordan Alexander was upset, or so it seemed. her husband Steve snapped a photo of her riding Splash Mountain at Disney World with a serious crease in her brow because he wouldn't ride with her. Jordan later explained, Splash Mountain's my favorite ride. Steve's not a ride guy, but he promised me that he would go. At the last minute, Steve backed out. Jordan, that's the wife, practiced her angry face, which was snapped by the Disney cameras, and now she's made the unhappy face for fun to give her husband a memento of how mad he made her, and I guess that image was shared all over the place, so that's kind of funny. So he was supposed to go on the ride with her. He got up there. She got in. He jumped out and said, yeah, I'm not going. Never mind. I wonder how they do you think he helps with his housework, though?
He better.
All right. Hey, your bonus break brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you've got funds earning less than 6%, get a better system. Reach out to the folks at Knowles Systems. They have commercial mortgage bridge loans earning 6 to 8%. Get all the details at commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.